Okay guys, time for another quick PowerShell code demo, and this time what we are going to do is we are going to go and test a list of domains slash IPs to see if they are alive and also to see the average response time. Okay, so to do this, we will need a command called test-connection. Now, you might be used to things like ping, and that works perfectly fine. But in PowerShell, we've got this thing called test-connection. And if we go and put in the computer name of something like google.com here, we get an output. Let's go and run that and see what we get. See, we get a test connection output, and it goes and hits Google 3 times and gives me a bunch of information, and also gives me the milliseconds response time for that. So let's go and throw this into a function instead. And we're going to make this function actually connect to multiple different domains, so I can loop through this and get an output. Because, well, I could kind of do this already if I take off that function and just go back a second. And we do dash computer name. We can do something like bing.com. And let's see what happens when we run both of those at the moment. So it's going to go through google.com, and then it should switch over and go into bing.com. But what I want to do is I want to kind of average those together and average them out. So let's go in here and do this from the beginning. So let's do function, and let's do a function called test-domain latency down here. Okay, that's great. So the parameters, what we want to do is we want to insert a bunch of domains that we want to test. So those are going to be strings, and we want to put on the 2 extra brackets inside there to make sure that we can actually put multiple strings in here. We'll call this $domains. Okay, that's great. So what we want to do is now write our kind of main loop down here. And this loop is actually going to loop through each domain that's actually provided. So we need a good for each. Within that for each, what we're going to do is we're going to for each domain in domains. Okay, what are we going to do? So we're going to go and run through a little bit of code. So I'm just going to paste in some code that I've already got here to save me typing it and to cut down the time of the video. And we've got the result is going to be test connection computer name domain count for error action stop. So make sure that if we actually do have an error within here, within this test connection, it can't find the domain, or the domain is dead, or whatever is on the other side of that thing is dead, we actually go and stop and break out of that. So the average latency down here is going to be the result of the measure object response time average.average. So it's going to take those 4 elements there. So if we see the output from the original, this google.com, right? It's going to take these 4 different averages in milliseconds, and it's going to average those out and give me a result. Okay, that's great. So maybe what we want to do is we want to do a write output on here. Write output. Okay, and this write output is going to be something like $domain is average ms is going to be the average I can't spell average latency. Okay, that's fine for the moment. Let's just go and change the color on that one. Let's do a foreground color for foreground. Can I spell? Foreground color is green. Okay, that's fine. So that should be, I think I spelled foreground color. I'm going to find out in a second. So let's go and run this with the, I think it's called test, not test administrator. It's called test domain latency. And the domains I'm going to use, we'll just start with one. We'll just do google.com. We'll go and run that and see what happens. So missing statement, the body for the for each loop. Okay, so what we've done here is screwed up our for each loop because we need a couple of curly brackets to make that work properly. So let's add a couple of curly brackets around there and try running that again, and we should have, there we go. So there's Google with the average millisecond, the foreground color green. So that's kind of screwed up a little bit. We need to put the write dash not output, because write output doesn't support that. If we do write dash host on the other hand, and then put on the end of this, whoops, end dash foreground color. Now we've got foreground color. Foreground color green. Go and run that, because write output doesn't support color changing, whereas write host does support color changing. There we go. Awesome. So we want to put some extra information inside here as well. We want to see what happens when one of these things doesn't actually work. So what we want to do is we want to wrap these things up in a try-catch block. So I want to try actually doing this. Remember, this is error handling. I do have another video on this if you want to hashtag like and subscribe. And then I'm going to put a catch in down here. Whoops, let's not do that. Let's put I'm writing this manually. Let's put a catch block in here. So the catch block is going to execute if the initial statement actually fails. Whoops. So let's go and do the catch down there. And domain average that's going to be bad. So that's going to be domain. Whoops. We want this to be pasted into the try block up there. That's nice. I'm going to change this to red. Change the right host, domain average latency. Okay, that's good. So domain is dead. Okay, that's cool. So let's go and run that again, see what we get. We should still get the same output. Yep, there we go. We've got google.com. That's good. Okay, so if I want to make this look pretty without the strange indent or with extra indentation down here, if I just do Control-Shift-F, or is it Alt-Shift-F? There we go, Alt-Shift-F. You can see that I've got my nice indentation here. It makes it look pretty for me. Okay, that's cool. So let's go and try multiple domains. So let's do google.com. Let's do bing.com inside here. Run that, see if I get outputs here for the averages for Google and the averages for Bing. Google's done. Okay, it's cool. Bing's done. All right, let's try something that's bad. So let's do www, I don't know, tree12345. I'm hoping that domain doesn't actually exist. Let's do a .net on that. Okay, so let's go and run this again. It's going to crunch through that, and hopefully we should get Google come back, Bing come back, and then we should actually get a catch block in there because an error has happened. So yeah, tree something is dead. Wonderful. Maybe we actually want to put these in a list. So what about if I come up here, add a new file, and I call this domains.txt. And inside this domains.txt, let's go and put our lists of domains. So let's do www.google.com. Let's do www.bing.com, and let's do tree12345 blah 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 blah.com. Okay, so we'll see if we get one that errors. In fact, let's add another condition on the end. Let's do a yahoo.com on there, see if it actually continues correctly. So let's save that domains.txt file, come back over here, and maybe what I want to do is I want to read this in. So let's do domain list is equal to let's just do get dash content. So if I just put in $domain list and I do get content domains.txt, which is grabbing it from the current directory I'm currently working in, and now I'll change this domains around to $domain list. Now, when I'm going to run this thing, what it's going to do is it's going to run that same code again, and it's going to go and hit Google. It's going to go and hit Bing. It's going to go and hit the tree123 is dead, and it's hitting Yahoo, and everything's come back wonderfully. That's pulled it from a list, and that's pulled it from a .txt file, and that kind of concludes. So we've done a very quick try-catch finally block inside a test domain latency function, and I hope you join me next time for some more PowerShell content. And you know the routine, hashtag like and subscribe, and I hope you enjoyed this video and will join me next time. Goodbye.